The various printer functions are controlled by software known as firmware. From time to time, HP firmware updates become available. These updates increase the printer's functionality and enhance its features. This video shows you how to update the firmware in the HP Latex 300 series printers. There are different processes to upgrade printer firmware. If the printer is web connected, it can automatically download and install the latest firmware release. Automatic firmware updates are possible only if the printer is web connected. In order to check if this option is activated in the printer, press the settings icon in the main front panel menu. Press Updates. Press Firmware Update. Press Check. If an administrator password has been set, then it is required to change these settings. Press Automatic to return to the previous menu. Press Download. Press Automatic to return to the previous menu. If there is new printer firmware available, it will be downloaded without affecting workflow. When new firmware has been downloaded, the printer notifies it with an alert. In order to install it, press the printer icon. Take into consideration that the firmware installation process takes up to 15 minutes and the product can't print during this time. Press Firmware. Press Yes. The firmware installation progress bar appears. It's very important not to power off the printer while new firmware is installing. The printer will automatically reboot after installation. Firmware can also be downloaded from the HP website and manually installed. Via a computer, download the latest firmware from www.hp.com/go/latex300/support and save the file with extension .fwm to the hard disk. There are two different manual processes to upgrade firmware. If the USB port on the rear part of the printer is chosen, an empty 2 GB USB flash drive is required. Save the file with extension .fwm in the USB drive's root folder. The USB drive should contain only one firmware file. If the printer is on, switch it off. Connect the USB flash drive to the USB connector at the rear of the printer. Switch the printer on and follow the instructions on the front panel. The firmware file can also be sent to the printer from a computer if they're connected to the same network. Take note of the printer's IP address by pressing the networking icon on the front panel. Type the IP address into the browser's address bar and press Enter on the keyboard. Click the Setup tab. Click Firmware Update. Click Manual Firmware Update. Use the Browse button to open the Explorer. Select the firmware file. Press Open. Click Update. Follow the instructions on the embedded web server. Additional helpful videos are available at hp.com/support videos and on the YouTube channel.